Chapter 26, inflation. What is inflation? Inflation can be defined as a general and continuing rise in prices. If the prices of goods and services are going up generally in the economy over a period of time, inflation is said to exist. So inflation means there's a persistent rise in the general price level within a given economy. That is what inflation means. That means the prices continue to rise over a period of time. I think the point is clear there.
Clear.
Okay, these are just stories. Sometimes, the next paragraph, please. Sometimes prices fall over time. In getting started, the price of petrol for Julian's car fell from 152 days, and however, falling prices are not as common as rising prices. Deflation is the term used to describe a fall in the average prices. However, deflation may also be used to describe a slowdown in the economy. Okay, now they're going to deflation. So there's a difference between inflation and deflation. Deflation means there's a general fall in the prices of goods and services within the economy. Inflation is a general rise in the price of goods and services. Deflation means a general fall in the price of goods and services. But for deflation, most of the time, deflation brings about a fall in the economic growth.
Okay.
Because when prices continue to fall, it means things are not fine within the economy. Businesses will not be making revenue. So it's a consequence, or we could say it results into like, oh, the economy is not just fine. We just have to continue to reduce the price so that we can sell. So there's a slowdown in the economy.
Okay.
Do you get it?
Yes.
So that is what deflation is anyway. So they said a period where aggregate demand is falling. So that is what deflation is about. At that point in time, the total demand within the economy will start falling. As a result, firms have to reduce their price constantly.
Clear.
So to measure inflation, you can use the Consumer Price Index to measure inflation, CPI. So I read. Government usually measure and monitor the rate of inflation. Government usually measure and monitor the rate of inflation in the EU and many other countries. Inflation is measured using the CPI. It is a measure of the average price calculated from the same price information every month. So it is the food basket, that means the total number of what you sell or what is being sold in the market divided by the previous year's. Okay, we're going to get the formula anyway. So, but what we're talking about CPI is you measure what is being sold from last year, the value of what is being sold last year with the value of what is being sold this year. That is how you measure the CPI.
Yeah.
So based on that, you would have understand the change in price over a period of time. So because when you measure the last year's value of food basket and this year's value of food basket, if it changes, you would have seen that, oh, the price of certain item over that period of time has increased or decreased.
So can you explain to me CPI?
I should explain further, right?
Yes.
When you measure CPI, we call it Consumer Price Index. And what we do about it is to understand the price of food baskets in the last year with the value of the food basket for this year.
Food basket, okay.
Yeah, so that means we're talking about how do I put it for you? The formula is we use C base T divided by C base O multiplied by 100. When we talk about C base T, we're talking about the Consumer Price Index itself. Is the cost of the market basket in the current period, this year that we have, the price of the current market basket, divided by the cost of the market basket of the base year, which was the last year, multiplied by 100. You know, the food basket is the total of all items that was purchased last year, and the same total of food basket that was purchased this year. So this year, that's the present year, divided by the base year, which was the last year, multiplied by 100.
Mister, I don't get it, Mister.
I'm
being honest, I don't
I will explain again. Just calm down. We have CPI. So to measure our CPI, that's our Consumer Price Index. We measure it through the cost of the market basket in this current period, this year that we have right now, 2024, divided by the cost of the market basket of the base year, which is 2023. Multiplied by 100.
Okay.
So what we mean by the food basket itself,
Okay.
the food basket means the total of goods or services that was purchased this year, and the total of goods and services that was purchased last year, multiplied by 100.
Okay, clear.
Do you get it or not, or I explain again?
Mister, I get it, but I don't get it. The last part is I don't get
Okay.
it for the food, the
The food
basket.
basket, right?
Yes, the basket.
The food basket means things that are consumed, like food, clothing, shelter, fuel, transportation, services.
Anything.
These are what we
Anything
call
that's
food
consumed.
basket.
Okay.
So the cost of the market for food baskets this year, the present year, divided by the cost of the market cost of the food basket for the base year, which was the last year, multiplied by 100.
This year.
The present year divided by the
Okay.
base year. The base year is the last year.
Okay.
Multiplied by
Times
100. That is how we measure CPI.
Okay.
Is it clear now?
Clear.
Any question about that?
No.
All right. So we go down. So we have types of inflation. Note again, we have CPI. The measurement for CPI is C base T over C base O multiplied by 100. That means the cost of food basket for this present year divided by the cost of the food basket of the base year multiplied by 100 CPI. That is done. Then we go to the types of inflation. Are you there now?
Yes, I'm here.
So we have demand inflation. They said inflation may be caused by different factors, and there is often some disagreement about the importance of each one. This is because different economies have different views about the causes of inflation. So causes of inflation is the same as types of inflation. Are you with me?
Cost of inflation.
Causes of inflation is the same as the types of inflation.
Cost of inflation is the same as types of inflation.
Causes is the same as type.
Mister, I can't hear the first word. Costs or costs?
Causes. Reasons.
Causes. Okay, causes. Okay.
Causes of inflation is the same. Reasons of inflation is the same as the types of inflation.
Clear.
All right. Shall we go on?
Yes.
So the first one is demand pull inflation. So when we talk about demand pull inflation, we're talking about inflation caused by too much demand in the economy. That means aggregate demand in the economy is increasing.
Okay.
So if aggregate demand is increasing, what is aggregate demand? Aggregate demand is the total demand within the economy.
Okay.
So what would bring about increase in aggregate demand that would lead to demand pull inflation? Number one, rising consumer spending encouraged by tax cuts or low interest rates. So the first reason why we have increasing aggregate demand or AD is that government might have reduced tax or interest rates is falling. So if there's a cut in taxes, it means disposable income would increase. And as soon as disposable income increases, spending would increase, leading to demand pull inflation. Do you get the point?
Yes.
Or a low
there will be higher demand due to the lower prices.
Not lower prices, Ahmed. Listen, please.
No. Okay.
There's demand pull inflation, which is caused by increasing aggregate demand. Aggregate demand is the total demand within the economy. What will bring about increasing aggregate demand? Number one, rising consumer spending, which is encouraged by tax cuts or low interest rates. So I'm going to take each one at a time. For tax cuts, if tax is cut, it means the amount you have to pay the amount of tax you have to pay has reduced. And if this happens, disposable income would increase.
Okay.
So if disposable income increases, it means the amount of money available for households or individuals would rise. That means they can spend more. demand will increase, leading to increasing aggregate demand that might lead to demand pull inflation. That's for tax cut. Is it clear?
Yes.
The other one is low interest rate. A low interest rate represents cheap borrowing. Yes or no?
Yes.
So if borrowing is cheap,
Cheap
then
and repetitive.
what?
Cheap and repetitive.
Cheap and what?
Repetitive. They will keep on borrowing. Repeat.
Yes. So it will be cheap and people will continue to borrow, yes. But as a result of that, people will have so much money with them due to the fact that they can borrow.
Yes.
This will increase demand within the economy.
Clear.
As soon as demand increases, demand pull inflation would occur. Is the first point clear?
Clear.
The second one, sharp increase in government spending. Government spending represents subsidy, which means prices become cheaper. Price of goods and services become cheaper as a result of that.
Okay.
And remember the law of demand. The lower the price, the higher the quantity demanded, right?
Yes.
So due to government
excess
spending,
demand.
prices become cheaper, demand within the economy would rise. Aggregate demand will increase. As a result of that, demand pull inflation will occur.
It will lead to excess demand in the economy.
Excess.
Yes, excess demand.
Yeah. But let's talk about increasing aggregate demand. Don't talk about excess. Because when you talk about excess, you are linking it to equilibrium.
Okay.
Are you with me?
I'm just saying, mister, that there will be more demand than usual.
Yes. My internet is here. Just hold on, please.
Yeah, mister,
Yeah, my internet.
your
Is
internet.
it fine now? Is it okay now?
No, now it's fine. Yes.
Okay.
No, it's okay.
I don't want us to mix things together. There's excess demand as a result of a price fall
Okay.
below the equilibrium price. Are you with me?
Okay.
So
I'm with you.
there's excess demand as a result of a fall in price below the equilibrium price. Put it aside. We're talking about aggregate demand here.
Aggregate demand. Okay.
Because when you talk about excess demand and excess supply, you are referring to microeconomy. Here, we're talking about macro.
Okay.
So macro is focused on the economy as a whole.
Okay. Tamam.
So don't let us mix things together, okay?
Okay, tamam.
All right. So government spending would represent a fall in price. A fall in price means aggregate demand would increase within the economy. Note, government might subsidize for firms, making the cost of production to fall. So if the cost of production falls, firms will be selling at a lower price. That will increase demand within the economy. Aggregate demand will increase, leading to demand pull inflation.
Okay.
Is it clear?
Yes.
The third one, rising demand for resources by firms. If firms need more resources to produce their output, the price of these resources would rise. Demand pull inflation would occur.
Okay, clear.
The last one, booming demand for exports. The price of exports in the country might be cheaper. That makes the economy to become internationally competitive. As soon as the economy becomes internationally competitive, demand for exports would rise. As a result of that, it will lead to demand pull inflation.
Can you repeat it, mister?
Booming demand for export. The demand for export might increase if the price for export becomes cheaper.
Oh, okay.
So if this happens, exports would increase at the detriment of local purchases. So both local consumers might even find it difficult to find the product because firms or exporters start selling more to the foreign market.
Government subsidized, so there'll be
No, not government here. Exports. Export is not
Yeah.
about government here. The prices of exportation, the prices of export become cheaper. That is the point.
Mister, you mentioned something about subsidized.
Subsidy is about government spending. That was the second. I mean, the last one here, booming demand for export.
Okay.
Booming demand for export will happen as a result of cheap prices for export. If the price of export become cheaper, maybe through foreign exchange rates, a fall in foreign exchange rates, for example, or increasing output within the economy, this makes exports to become cheaper. The country becomes internationally competitive. As a result of that, demand by foreign customers would rise.
Okay, clear.
So if it rises, it would also affect domestic consumption because there won't be anything left for domestic consumers to buy. Demand pull inflation.
Clear.
These are all the reasons why we have demand pull inflation. Any questions about demand pull inflation?
It's clear. It's clear.
The second one is cost push inflation. Cost push.
Okay. Cost.
Are you with me?
I'm here, Mister. I'm here.
All right. For cost push inflation, they said another theory is that inflation can be caused by rising cost. This is called cost push inflation. When businesses are faced with rising costs, they put up their prices to protect their profit margins. As a result, inflation is caused. So for cost push inflation, it means that the cost of goods and services are increasing. As a result of that, the cost of production is increasing. As a result of that, firms do not have any other choice than to transfer the increasing cost to the prices of goods they sell.
Clear.
Is it clear?
Clear.
That is what we call cost push inflation. Then we have different examples here. We'll go down, please. How about ways? Let me see if there's anything we have to understand here. Yeah, that is all about cost push anyway. All right, let me just read what they said here anyway. For example, a retailer buys goods from a supplier for 10 pounds per unit. The retailer then adds 10% of the cost to get the selling price. This is $11, 11 pounds. If the cost of this product from supplier rises to 12 pounds, the new price will be around 13.2. The retailer has increased the price of the product from 11 to 13 because costs have risen. So this is cost push inflation. If the retailer did not increase the price when the cost rose, profit would not be reduced. Cost might rise for a number of reasons. So what they are saying is, as soon as cost of production increases, it is important for firms, suppliers, retailers, wholesalers to increase their price. If not, they won't be able to make profit.
They increase the price.
If not, they won't be able to make profit.
Clear.
So what are the reasons why we have cost push inflation? Number one, it has been suggested that cost push inflation in the UK has been caused by the rising cost of imported goods, such as oil. So the first reason why we have cost push inflation is a rising cost of importation.
Okay.
So if the cost of importation increases, that means importers will not have any other choice than to increase it when they have to sell. You know, sometimes you have to import goods that we have to sell. Sometimes we have to import goods to sell. Yes or no?
Yes, they have
So
to
if
increase
the prices of these goods that we are importing increases, that means the cost of importing these goods has increased. As a result of that, we have to increase the price. That is the example of cost push inflation.
Clear.
Wage increases might also cause cost push. So if wages have to be increased, maybe due to minimum wage rates increasing. So if wage increases for firms, if firms have to pay more to their workers, they have to pass on this cost to the price of goods that they sell.
Can you repeat that again?
Wage increase, if wage increases,
okay.
If wage increases, maybe due to inflation. Are you with me?
Mr. Ra, your wife is cutting out.
Okay, let's just try to see.
Okay, it's better, Mr. No.
Okay. The cost of production might increase, right? So if the cost of production increases, inflation would occur, right?
Yes.
Employees will not have, they won't be able to spend the same amount they used to spend on the quantity that they used to buy. Yes or no?
Yes.
So
It will be
they might,
expensive.
what?
They won't have the. It will be expensive.
Yes, things will become expensive. As a result of that, they might put pressure on their employers to increase their wages.
But Mr. They won't increase their wages, right?
They might, if the pressure is high.
Under which circumstances will they increase their wage?
If the workers, if the job they are doing is inevitable, if they are special skilled, if firms understand that they can be able to pass on the cost to their price, if the demand for their product is price inelastic, if the productivity of workers are increasing, they wouldn't have any other choice than to increase the wage rate.
Okay, done. Clear.
So, the pressure is on employers to increase the wage rate. So if the employers don't have any other choice, or they believe that they can pass on the cost to the price of goods, then they would have to increase their wage rate. As a result of that, it brings about cost push inflation because prices will increase for goods and services.
Okay, clear.
The third one, increase in taxation. If taxation increases, profits will fall. Yes or no?
Yes.
So firms might think that, oh, now that our profit is falling, we have to increase the price so that we can meet up with higher profits.
What do you mean?
If government increases tax,
Yes. Prices
profits
will
will fall.
Yes.
But firms want to make higher profits. Yes or no?
Yes.
So what would they do? They have to increase their price.
Okay.
Because when they raise the price, they will be able to sell at a higher price and they will be able to make more profit.
But Mr. If there is a higher price, there won't be as many purchases as there used to be.
Yes, I know, but it is what it is. The demand for their product might be price inelastic, you know.
Okay, if it's price elastic, then it can lead to a loss sometimes.
Yeah. And probably they might add value to their product to make it be able to sell at a higher price.
Okay, clear.
Oh, sorry, there's Adan. We have to pause, please.
Okay.
So any question about cost push? Any question about cost push?
No, everything is fine until now.
So we go to the relationship between inflation and interest rates. Another theory of inflation is held by a group of economists called monetarists. Monetarists believe that there is a strong link between inflation and growth in the money supply. The money supply is the stock of notes and coins that banks, coins, bank deposits, and other financial assets in the economy. This is explained in another chapter anyway. Inflation may be caused, network. Okay. Inflation may be caused when household firms and the government borrow more money from banks to fund extra spending. This adds to the money supply because there are no more bank deposits. That means the borrowed money increases bank balances. The extra money lent by the bank creates more demand and prices are driving up. This type of inflation is more likely to happen if interest rates are low. This is because borrowing is likely to increase when interest rates are low. In the past, some governments have raised interest rates to bring down the rate of inflation. If interest rates rise, borrowing will fall as it becomes more expensive. The money supply will grow less quickly and demand will fall. As a result, the pressure on prices is relieved, so inflation will fall. Now, the relationship between inflation and interest rates. For the interest rate is one of the monetary policy. And when talking about monetary policy, it's the use of it. Hold on, please.
Okay.
There's what we call monetary policy, which is the use of interest rates, money supply, and exchange rates to manipulate or to control the economy. So one of the things that government will use, one of the tools they use is the interest rate. And interest rate is the price of borrowing or saving, right?
Yes.
So what is the relationship between interest rate and inflation? This is it. If the interest rate of a country is low, it means borrowing would increase in that economy. As a result of that, aggregate demand, money supply would rise, and aggregate demand will increase in the economy. That is if the interest rate is low. Do you get the point?
Yes. Yes, they will mainly need to more borrowing.
Yeah, so money supply will flow within the economy.
Okay, clear.
Great. So what happens afterwards? So if government wants to correct inflation, government might use interest rates to correct inflation by increasing interest rates.
Yeah, mister.
Are you with me or not?
With you, mister. Can you put it
So
again?
if government wants to correct inflation,
Okay.
government would use increase in interest rates to correct inflation.
Okay.
Are you with me or not?
With you, mister. Your voice is just cutting off.
Okay. I said if government wants to correct inflation, government could use interest rates to correct inflation.
Clear.
Okay, so this is what government will do. Government will increase interest rate, and as soon as interest rate increases, money supply in the economy would fall because a lot of people would want to save rather than spending.
Mister,
Yes,
your voice is cutting off a bit.
I will say it again. If government wants to correct high inflation rate, government could use interest rates to correct inflation rate. So what would government do? Government will, as soon as government increases interest rates, money supply in the economy would reduce. Why? Because a lot of people would want to benefit from high interest rate by saving their money.
Okay, clear.
Is it clear?
Clear.
So as a result of that, as a result of not having money, large amount of money in supply, demand for goods and services will fall. Then inflation rate will fall.
Clear.
Prices. The impact of inflation on prices. One, they said one of the main problems of inflation is that prices are rising. As a result, inflation reduces the purchasing power of money. This means that people cannot buy as much with their income. Therefore, households will experience a fall in their living standards. However, if incomes are rising as faster than the price, this may not be a problem for individuals. The impact of inflation on prices. If inflation continues to rise within the economy, the purchasing power, disposable income for households will fall. They won't be able to buy what they used to buy.
Their living standards will fall.
Because you cannot afford what you used to buy. That means your standard of living will fall.
Clear.
But if the rate of inflation is increasing at the same time as your income is increasing, then there won't be problems for that.
Their living standards would even increase.
Yes, there won't be problems.
Clear.
Wages. When prices are rising, workers need to increase their wages to compensate for the loss in purchasing power. If workers can negotiate higher wages with their employers, they will get more money. However, as a result of higher wages, firms may need to raise their prices because costs have risen. If these prices lead to higher wages, which then leads to higher prices and so on, demand for higher wages when there's inflation can cause conflicts between employers and trade unions. Such conflict could result in a strike and both workers and firms would lose out. So if wages increase, when prices increases, when there's inflation, employees might put pressure on their employers to increase their wages. As soon as this happens, if they're able to negotiate better for wage increase, this represents a high cost of production for firms. Yes or no?
Yes.
So if this represents a high cost of production for firms will pass on the prices to consumers. If they are unable to pass the price cost or the increasing price to consumers, then they will have to negotiate that they cannot pay the high wages. And if they are unable to pay the high wages, the trade union will have issues because the trade union will represent the employees for better working condition or better wage rate. So conflict between them will bring up about industrial action. And if there's industrial action, there won't be output, there won't be wages. So both employees and workers, both employers and employees will lose out. Employees will not be getting what they need. Employers will not be making revenue. So they are both going to lose out.
They're both losing out on what they want.
Yes.
And what they need.
Clear.
Yeah.
As soon as there's inflation, the price of exports becomes higher. The country becomes less internationally competitive. Foreign customers will not buy from you anymore.
There'll be more competition between you guys. Between the
Foreign customers will not buy from you anymore because the price of your export are increasing.
They won't buy at all.
Yeah, they won't want to. They will seek for alternatives.
Okay, clear.
And this will reduce your balance of payments. Your balance of payments would fall.
Clear.
And this might lead to unemployment.
Clear. Oh, Mr. So it's linked, Mr.
What?
They're linked.
Yes.
What's it called?
Inflation.
Yes, and unemployment.
Yes.
Okay.
So we go to high levels of, for unemployment, they said high levels of inflation usually mean that aggregate demand is rising. As a result, firms will be keen to increase output since the price of goods is increasing. This means that firms will need to recruit more workers, which reduces unemployment. So as soon as inflation increases, it means demand in the economy is increasing, yes or no?
Yes.
So firms would not have any other choice than to employ more workers. As a result of that, unemployment would fall.
But they'll be paying Mr. more for their employees because of
They have the
inflation.
money because they are making more revenue due to increasing demand.
Okay.
Clear.
Clear.
Menu costs. With high inflation rates, the price tags, food prices have to be changed every now and then. Do you get it or not?
Clear, yes.
You have to be changing your price tags because prices are increasing every day. So this is a cost.
The prices change and you have to keep changing your cost as well.
The price tags.
Yes,
You have to continue to print different papers every now and then.
Yes,
For
yes.
your prices. Is it clear?
Yes.
Then we have shoe leather cost. For shoe leather cost, because the prices are increasing, everybody would have to find a better bargain. They will start looking from one shop to another to see where they can buy at a cheaper rate.
But Mr., what if the quality is not the same, Mr.? Sometimes they don't look at the quality.
Well, it is assumed that the quality are the same at this point.
Okay.
Clear?
Okay.
So you have to continue to move around to find the better bargain. Is it clear?
Yeah.
Is it clear, please?
It's clear.
Uncertainty. Due to inflation, it becomes unpredictable events and planning within the economy. Businesses will not want to invest. Households will not want to spend.
What do you mean, Mr.?
As soon as there's inflation, there's uncertainty. Businesses will not want to invest because they don't know what will happen with price the next time.
Okay.
Households will not want to spend. They don't want to buy. They shift forward their purchasing.
Okay, clear.
As a result of that, future plan becomes difficult. Is it clear?
Clear.
Business and consumer confidence. Because of inflation, consumers, businesses, they don't have confidence about spending. So they wouldn't want to try to spend at that point in time. So they lose hope within the economy. So they don't want to develop goods or they don't want to spend on investment. Households would rather save than spending because they don't know what happens tomorrow. So the economic growth rate would fall because no spending, no investments.
Clear.
So it will bring about hyperinflation, which means prices will not be able, you won't be able to control price and the country's currency would fall.
Mr., how long would the hyperinflation usually last?
I wouldn't know. It depends on the different economic policy that the countries come up with.
But
But it has to be solved.
yes, but normally, Mr. It shouldn't last a long time, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
It could bring about war.
war
Yeah.
between countries.
In the country, civil war.
Hmm.
Is it clear?
No, I didn't know, Mister. I didn't think it would cause war.
When things are not fine in the economy, do you think people will be happy?
No, Mister, but not to the point that will cause a war, Mister.
Will it?
There will
When
be
people are living in
disagreement.
abject poverty, do you know
There,
what